So thank you so much again for being with us today to talk about compassionate leaders yield loyalty and results from their team. You know what? It all starts with awareness. It all starts with awareness. And so last week, when I was very disturbed at a minimum and saddened by the shootings in Buffalo and the shootings in Laguna Woods, which is in our neighborhood, and the shooting in Dallas, so much hate. So I was very upset about it. And I shared with some of my clients, as we already had calls scheduled. And, when they said, well, how are you? It couldn't be, oh, I'm good, because there were emotions going on. And I noticed that when I shared with them that, you know what, I wasn't really feeling very good. I was very sad and upset and very disturbed. And what I found is that they were very receptive. So here's the deal. Even if it's not something that you yourself, that affects you yourself, the ability to see from someone else's lens is what's very important. And I saw with them that they were like, you know what, Michelle, thank you for sharing that, because I knew about it. And now I have a better understanding about how it's affecting you and how it affects other people. So it starts with awareness and being okay to let people know. And I want to share with you the definition of compassion, a definition of compassion. It starts with feeling. Okay, so a feeling, but not a fact, but a feeling of deep sympathy and sorrow for another who is stricken by misfortune, accompanied by a strong desire to alleviate suffering. So that's how compassion is defined. So, we're talking about how leaders can be more compassionate with their teams. And Margaret, I want to start with you. And can you help us understand the difference or similarity, compare compassion and empathy? I know you're an expert at this. Can you give us some knowledge and wisdom on this, please?
Well, I think it's important to understand when you're feeling empathy for someone, you're vicariously or you're experiencing their pain. Mm-hmm. You are relating to it. And when they do studies of your brain, looking at somebody else having something difficult going on, your brain actually mirrors the brain of that person who's undergoing pain and suffering. Now, with compassion, there's a big difference because you said it yourself, Michelle, but you're moved to mitigate the pain of another, to help alleviate their suffering. So actually what happens is your brain activates in the areas where there's motion and activity. And so, and you will often be able to do something that makes you, I think it's hard not when you see, like if you're looking at any of the footage from the events that have happened in Buffalo, Laguna Woods, right. In Olathe, Texas, it's really hard not to feel empathy. But can you then switch that empathy over to compassion and begin some sort of motion? And that motion can be either, if you know the people, ask them what they need. What can you do to help? Or if you don't know the people, oftentimes people who've been through events like this have organized and asked for either GoFundMe, or they have an organization organized on an issue that they feel will help solve this problem. And you, in your act of compassion, can get involved. It all depends on the exact and specific situation. But I think the key difference is, one is you're just mitigated to take action.
Okay.
I mean, you're moved, to take action to mitigate or alleviate someone else's suffering.
Okay. That's a good distinction. Thank you, Margaret. And before we started today and went live, we were talking about that. Like, one way to show compassion is, like you said, go to an event that someone is hosting. So I like that distinction. Take some action. So feel it and take some action would be a good distinction. So thank you for that. Thank you. And we have some good news is we've seen a lot of that lately. And so, Melissa, let me ask you this, because I think one of the things that Margaret's talking about is taking personal accountability, right? I mean, that's what I hear you saying, Margaret, is instead of we feel and what are we going to do about it? So at Make-A-Wish, let me just ask you this, Melissa, at Make-A-Wish, which is an organization that who can't love the purpose of Make-A-Wish Foundation, right? Who could not appreciate and love that? And so, but how do you find that you and your team take personal accountability and then also show vulnerability to show that you're compassionate with your clients, with your team?
So that's a really important question now more than ever, with everything going on in the world, like we've been talking about. It's really important that we connect with our team and we make sure that they're being heard, and we're taking the time to have those one-to-ones with each and every person on the team to make sure, check in with them, make sure that they're feeling okay, that if they need anything, that we're there to support them. Because whether we're in the job or at home, we're all together at work. Either way, we need to support one another to make sure that we can do what we need to do and carry out our mission.